Well, everybody, one of the things that we love doing here at CPYU is doing ministry with parents. That's really how we got started 31 years ago when a group of parents came to me and asked about, help us understand the world of our kids. So that was the sign of the starting point for CPYU way back when. And we've continued to work with parents and minister to parents over the years. And as always, I say, one of the things I'd love to have happen is to have all of you be able to travel with me and meet the people that I get to meet. Lisa and I get to meet many great people when we're on the road, and it's really fun to be able to walk with parents through this journey of parenting. And I thought about a week ago, I was praying about who we could get on here to talk about CPYU and the influence that CPYU has had on them as a parent. And I received an email from Wendy Vendt, who's joining us here from you. Are you in Arlington or Bethesda or
We're actually in Falls Church, Virginia.
in Falls Church, Virginia? And Wendy can tell you a little bit about herself here in a minute. She is someone that I met initially when we were down, I believe, at Fourth Presbyterian Church in Bethesda, which
Right.
has a great history. I'll just mention this in my own youth group days when I was in ninth grade. One of the first Christian bands ever in the United States came out of Fourth Presbyterian
Hmm.
Church, the Sons of Thunder,
Oh,
and they
I know them.
played at my church in 1970. They actually started in 1967, so it goes way back. But so I have a
Right.
little bit of history with your church, and then that history continued when I was able to come down and speak at your church just a couple of years ago. So Wendy, maybe you can talk a little bit about how you were first introduced to CPYU.
Great. Well, thanks for having me, Walt. That was actually my first encounter really with CPYU, was when you all came and did that seminar. I think it was a full day seminar on really tough topics that teens face. And it was a day of really discussing some difficult things. But I loved how you all did it with just honesty, deep biblical wisdom, and just practical advice for parents and youth workers. So that really was my first encounter with CPYU, and it was a really great way to start my relationship with you all.
Yeah, and actually, as I think back to that, the seminar that we did that day, Marv Penner came along,
Uh
and it
huh.
was Hope and Healing for Broken Kids. And you're
Yeah.
right, it's a long day, it's an exhausting day, more so for the people who were there listening than for us as we did, because it really is all about unpacking some really, really difficult topics. So your role, I mean, the reason you were there, you're both a parent and you're involved at some level with the youth ministry there. Talk about that, and then some of the resources from CPYU that you have found helpful and how you've been able to use them.
Wow. Well, CPYU is just a treasure chest of resources. I have been so blessed by them over the years. Everything from your website to your newsletter, your parent pages, your book recommendations. But I think the one that has impacted me the most as a parent and as a member of my youth committee at church is your podcast, Youth Culture Matters. That has really shaped the way that I view youth ministry, how to do it, why to do it. So it's been a huge blessing. And I think I probably mentioned that podcast in every youth committee meeting for maybe the past 5 years. They probably get sick of me talking about it, but there's just always a really great nugget that I can share from your podcast. I think one of the things that, looking back, I could kind of sum up what I've learned from the podcast with that quote that you all recite frequently, that it's if you win them with pizza, you will win them to pizza. Or as Walt, you'd like to say, it's what you win them with that you will win them to. And, that has really impacted me in the way I think about youth ministry, just the real focus on biblical discipleship instead of entertainment, and really impressing upon youth workers the need to train our kids and their hearts and their minds with biblical discipleship as opposed to the entertainment, and doing that with the gospel, with real truth, and doing it with transparency instead of with the entertainment that the world really likes to offer our kids. Um, so,
Yeah.
I'd say the other thing I've thought a lot about this. How has CPYU impacted me? And I would say even really practically, you and I had an encounter about 2 years ago. Um, and I was thinking about the practical wisdom and the accessibility that you all offer at CPYU. I gave you all a call a couple years ago because the teen daughter of a good friend of mine, was in a very difficult place in her life. She had tried to commit suicide 2 times and had been in and out of hospital facilities for almost a year. And as a friend, I was just trying to reach out and find out, what resources you all might have that could help her. This family is really kind of at trying to figure out what they could do, and nothing had been working. So I reached out to y'all, and I thought I would get maybe a list of counselors or a name of a facility where she could go. And what I got instead was you, Walt. And what ensued was just a really great conversation, about 30 minutes talking through the issues with my friend's daughter. And I really think it was your experience working in the mental health field, as well as really studying youth and teens and the culture over the years, that um, helped really helped me and helped that family think through how they might approach the situation with their daughter. So, I was utterly grateful for that conversation. And, I tell people, go ahead, Walt, you had something to
I
say?
was just going to say, and that really was your email to me last week. Really came out of nowhere. It surprised me, and it was a pleasant surprise. I shared it with Lisa because I know you had had a conversation with her as well when all this was unfolding. And a lot of times we get we get invited into these stories, and they don't always end well. And your story was very encouraging, and I really appreciate you sending that email, because that helps us know that what we're doing matters
Mm,
for people, and it's encouraging to us as well to really see God work and do miracles.
mm. Right. And I always tell people about CPYU. It's kind of a mantra of mine. I love sharing about what you all do because you have blessed me so much. And of course, I tell them about your great resources, the podcast, etc. But what I also tell them is that CPYU is just a great organization made up of people who love the Lord and who love God's word. Who are really passionate about training the next generation to know Christ and to walk with Him. And I think I want to thank your donors so much for what they've done to contribute to this ministry, because without them, this ministry wouldn't be able to prosper and succeed, and to reach all the youth workers and the parents, and the families that you do. So really wanted to give a big thanks to them.
Thanks for sharing that. As we end this, I'm just going to let you know, since you say you're a big fan of the podcast, we're giving you something to look forward to, because yesterday we recorded one that'll be out in a couple of weeks, that is all about what will happen in the world of youth ministry when we come out of this
Uh,
coronavirus pandemic. And the conversation we had was a roundtable with a group of people leading, major youth ministries in the country and internationally, who have said, we want to come out and do youth ministry just the way you described it there, Wendy, that we're winning them with Jesus, and we're seeing them come to Jesus rather than just trying to fill time with entertainment. And
right.
as you talked about that, I thought, oh, you'll like that one. So
I can't wait.
yeah, well, thank you. Thanks, Wendy. Thanks for encouraging us, and thanks for working with the students and the parents there at Fourth Pres, and even beyond. And I'll just encourage you, keep talking about the podcast. That's great. We love that. Thanks so
I
much.
will. Definitely. Thank you all.
Thank you.